Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and I'm actually doing this video on my birthday. This is the first video I'm doing where I am 16, and I am recording this off of my brand new laptop. As I said, I did end up destroying my other laptop, so that's why I ended up recording videos on my iPad. But this actually is a very good quality camera. I tried it out, it ended up being very good quality, and yeah, so very good quality camera. Very happy I'm using this. So, yeah, let's just get into this episode. This is going to be my review for Witch the East End, Season 2, Episode 6, When a Mandragora Loves a Woman. And this episode was incredible. It really was. Now, when I saw a tweet from, I believe, the girl that plays, Joanna. And she said, get ready for a really powerful episode, Witch of the East End, and I didn't really know what she meant. However, after this episode, yeah, I know what she definitely meant, because this episode was definitely very powerful, definitely a very memorable episode, and I really liked that about this episode. I thought this episode was definitely very, very good, in my opinion, just a really, really great episode. So yeah, let's just get to this episode. So basically, in the very beginning, we see it's very, very creepy because, of course, Ingrid got taken by the Mandragora, and we don't know what was going to happen after that. We see Hudson arrive at this library, and he finds Ingrid propped up against the wall. However, it's not really the Ingrid he knows. This Ingrid is very creepy, and I gotta give props to Rachel Boston in this episode. This was by far her best performance in the entire show. I mean, really, Rachel Boston gave an amazing performance. She really did. Basically, she is influenced by the Manderoga. You know, she's talking to him in a very creepy way. The Mandragora ends up attacking him from behind, and yeah, so that's what ends up happening. So then we see Joanna, Wendy, and Alex. They're talking about the plan for Ingrid. They basically want to try to find a way to get rid of the connection between her and the Mandragora, because they know that they're now connected, and they don't know how to stop them from being connected. They don't want them to be connected anymore, and they don't want this to go on any further. It's that simple. They don't want it to go on anymore. So the goal is to give her a small dosage of the potion, though Alex doesn't know if it's really going to work, or how to be able to free Ingrid, or while killing the Mandragora if it doesn't. So, I mean, that was definitely very interesting. Definitely, that was very interesting. So, then we see Freya. She's still kind of pissed at Frederick, and I like that we got this, because we really haven't had any Frederick-Freya interaction since Victor's death. And Freya is still, really pissed off at Frederick because, of course, his friends were the ones that were behind Victor's death, and that was, was definitely a very hard time for her. And she really just doesn't really forgive Frederick yet. You know, it's definitely going to take some time for her to actually forgive Frederick. Basically, Freya tells Frederick that she's only done right since he's been back. That's everything's been worse with him there. When she comes down to the kitchen, she learns that the only way to properly administer the potion is to actually inject it into the brain. So Alex goes on to say that they'll have to give the Mandragora a non-lethal blow in order to have the time necessary to inject Ingrid, and Freya suggests to get a hold of Archibald Browning's Grimoire. Now, of course, we know that Dash has that Grimoire, because the last time we saw that Grimoire, Ingrid was helping Dash and Killian with it. So Freya knows that Dash and Ingrid have grown closer lately, and I thought this was really smart, actually. You know, Dash and Ingrid, they've grown closer lately, so Freya knows that, basically she kind of wants an excuse to go over there anyway, because, she really wants to go over there and everything, basically, to see Dash. So Joanna ultimately agrees to the plan, bars Wendy from tagging along, and gives her daughter 2 vials just in case she runs into trouble. So yeah, that's what they decided to do. Freya's going over to get the Grimoire. And, yeah, so Joanna, Alec, Wendy, and Frederick, they then all head over to the library, thinking that since it's daylight, the Mandragora will be in hiding and they can make a progress in their quest. However, once they're there, they find they of course find Hudson. However, the Mandragora did not kill Hudson. What it did was make Hudson, permanently catatonic. He is completely catatonic. He's babbling about not being worthy. The Mandragora wants to wear his skin, and it's just really creepy, definitely. Really creepy shit going on there. And basically, Joanna sends him home with Wendy and Frederick, and Dash then wakes up leaking and we find out that, remember how the Mandragora attacked Dash in the last episode? Ingrid is not the only one that is under the influence of the Mandragora. Dash is as well. We find that out right away. He doesn't get a chance to do anything about it because Freya stops by looking for the Grimoire, and after research, Joanne and Alec find Ingrid's unconscious body because she's unconscious, obviously. And they end up giving the injection that brings, and Joanna ends up giving the injection that brings her daughter back to life and back from the brink. And just as Joanna forces Ingrid to run home, the Mandragora pops up. Alex fires 2 shots that miss, force the creature to disappear, though it's still on the premise of the library. But the lights don't go out, and the two decide to split up. So it doesn't really go well, though, because the Mandaroga has no problem sneaking up behind Alex and forcing his tentacle into her ear. When Joanne notices and tries to help her, the Mandaroga comes after her and does the same thing. So that was really big there. So Frederick is trying to ease Hudson's pain with magic. He says he will counteract to the venom known as Dragon's Blood, but Wendy doesn't trust that the magic is helpful after all. Not when Frederick lied about how much he knew about the Mandragora, because he knows more about it. Now, once she implies that Frederick knows even more than he lets on, she tells her nephew that she wants him gone and away from Hudson. This isn't it. She wants nothing to do with him, really. She wants him gone, like, right now. So Ingrid makes it back home and melts down the memories to come back. She remembers everything the creature did, all the destruction that it caused, and I thought this scene was this was amazing. I mean, at first she just doesn't know what's going on, everything, and she can't begin to process everything that she's conflict with, because, you know, it's really too much for her to just process, really, and I understand that, definitely. It's just too much for her to process. It was too much for her to think about, and she just couldn't do it all. So she then gets to see Hudson, and basically, perhaps the thing she's most guilty for. She gets to say her final goodbyes to Hudson, and it's really sad because, of course, you know, she's the one that killed Hudson. She doesn't realize this because she was under the influence of the Mandragora, but it's just really sad because she tells him she really did love him, and that he's happy to be proven right over the existence of magic before he passes out in front of her, which is really sad to watch, and I thought that scene was just beautifully done the way they did that. Definitely very beautifully done. Whenever Witches of East End kills off a character we grow to love, they do it very well, and that's one of the things Witches of East End did really good in this episode. So Freya then goes trying to get the Grimoire, but Dash has no designs about helping any of the Beauchamp women, and after pointedly complimenting Ingrid on her honesty and loyalty, he then accuses Freya of sleeping with Killian during their relationship before attempting to grab her and getting a chair flung in his way. Now, of course, as I said, Dash is not really Dash right now. Dash is under the influence of the Mandragora. So he's not really himself right now. That's really why this is going on. It's because Dash is not really himself. He is the Mandragora. So Freya flees the attic, and after a second of searching, she notices the loose board and pulls the book out. However, Dash in control of her powers enough to where he bypasses the door lock, grabs her by the throat, lifting her high off the ground before tossing her like a rag doll. He tries to explain that this is who he is, that she doesn't know what he's capable of, but she kicks him, leaves after taking a picture of the spell she needed with her phone, and that was just badass right there. That was awesome. So Freya's trying to leave Dashes only for him to come at her with a fireplace poker, and he taunts her while she's pinned against the door, again accusing her of having sex with Killian. You know, he pretty much thinks that she did, and mentioning how other people didn't want him to be with her. They looked at her as a white trash whose only interest in him was due to the amount of money in his pocket. Yet when he hits her with the poker, she shatters as if she was made of glass, and the real Freya then pops up behind him, gives him an injection that turns him back to normal. When he snaps out of it, he learns why Freya was there. He immediately expresses interest in helping Ingrid. He really wants to help Ingrid now, and yeah, so I thought that scene was very well done. I definitely really enjoyed that scene. I thought that scene was really well done. So basically, in the library, Joanna and Alex have it out over their fractured history with one another. Alex is arguing that Joanna was always afraid to feel anything, that she always ran away, and basically, you know, they're trying to figure out what's going on. You know, they still don't know exactly what's happening, basically, and basically, Alex argues that Joanna was always afraid to feel anything, that she always ran away when something became too much for her. And Joanna expresses the reason she left in the first place, that was basically because she wanted to spare Alex of the cycle of misery that has defined her life. And when she learns that, Alex realizes that instead of Joanna hurting her, she actually hurt herself. And basically, that's what she needs to do. So, Wendy, Ingrid, and Frederick, they're mixing up the potion that can unbend Ingrid from the Mandragora and receive help when Freya and Dash bring along the Grimoire. Dash and Ingrid bond over their experience with brain injections, but things can't be too casual for too long, as Ingrid feels the Mandragora's presence in the house, and definitely that was really intense. And basically, Wendy is setting up the spell that will get Ingrid out from the Mandragora. It involves Ingrid getting into her, getting into her bra and underwear. Basically, that's all she can wear. Covered in the oil that was mixed in the kitchen with candles arranged in a circle around them. Wendy explains that Ingrid will have to be set on fire for this to work. And she is to sit perfectly still and let the fire burn away the oil. So Wendy then goes Manderoga hunting as she does not trust Frederick at this, even at a time like this. She still does not trust him at all. And when she makes it to sight of the creature's entrance to release the tentacle while hiding in the closet, drags her near it, she steps on the tentacle with her other foot, only for Frederick to actually, this was awesome right here. Frederick ends up coming into the other room with a knife and severs the tentacle, stabs the Mandragora in the stomach, causing it to disintegrate, saving Wendy and freeing both his mother and Alex. And I really love the way this was done, really I did, with Joanna. Really what this was all trying to show is Joanna really needs to just, she doesn't let anything, Freya apologized to him for how she's treated him since Victor's death, because, Freya was really upset about that, obviously, and she apologized to him because he realizes that he really is on their side. He really is on their side, and they really should trust him. She really should trust him, and he really is on their side. So basically, Dash tries to sneak away, give the family their moment. Freya catches up with him. He apologizes for everything he said during their altercation. And though when she presses him about his comments regarding the bad things he did, he denies doing anything, quickly leaves the house. I'm kind of wondering if they're trying to set up, if they're trying to set up Dash and Freya again, because honestly, we know that Freya and Killian, something bad's going to happen if they get together. Killian obviously has Ava, which we're going to talk about Ava in the subplot, but I'm wondering if they're trying to set up Dash and Freya here. I don't know if they're trying to get them back together. I feel like they're going to. Because we saw in this episode, Ingrid and Dash really not going to work because they kind of were just possessed together. So it's obviously not going to work. So Joanna and Alex have make amends over everything that happened in the past. By the way, this part of the episode really felt like a season finale. It really felt like they were wrapping up the storyline. However, what they're wrapping up is the first half of the season. Because Joanna's owing up to the fact that Alex was right to leave while Frederick has another seizure. But this time as he prepares to take a shower, he convulses and he apologizes for letting his grandfather down, promises that he'll find another way. Which means that Wendy was correct. That means that he is not to be trusted at all, and he's just not to be trusted. So Wendy all this time was correct. Frederick is not to be trusted. She was correct about that, and I was surprised that happened, definitely. I was definitely very surprised that she was correct like that. I was not expecting that, and I gotta give it to the writers. That was an awesome ending, and I love the way the episode ended. We're gonna talk about that in a second, but let's get to the subplot. Basically, I had to do with Killian. Killian is uncovering his newest power, which is mind reading. He's hearing all these people reading their minds. He just found out in a couple episodes ago that he's a warlock, and now he's developing even more powers. He's becoming more and more powerful. But since he doesn't know how to control it yet, it quickly becomes very overwhelming, and it ends up going home sick to avoid having to hear anything else from anybody else. So that was really intense right there. It was definitely, that was just really intense the way that ended up going. Let's talk about him and Ava. Him and Ava in this episode, very weird, definitely. Ava comes home to find Killian making her juice after his hard day, and the two are reminiscing about a time they had sex on the beach, and when she learns about what happened at the bar. She advises him to learn to let go and try not to force control over his powers. He'll never master them if he's too conscious about it, and eventually he'll learn to live with them anyway. But what Killian doesn't understand, though, is why he hasn't been able to read Ava's thoughts before he can get an answer. He doesn't know why he can't do that. So she ends up climbing up on top of him, gets his mind on other things, and again, I really don't trust Ava right now. I really don't. There's just something I don't trust because, once again, after this happens, she spikes another one of Killian's drinks and subtly forces him to finish it. So there's definitely something going on with Ava. I really don't know what it is at this point. I really don't know. There's something going on there. Because Killian finally gives out after an all-day sexathon with Ava. Because Ava's producing the king's symbol on his chest. Really weird rituals. One of them, had her pouring candle wax on his bare chest. That was just... If a girl were to do that to me, I'd be like, no. That's just, a little too far for me. But I guess Killian was, really into it. So that's why he really wanted to do it. But, yeah, that was basically the episode, and overall, I thought it was a very good episode. I really loved it, and we now know that Frederick is not to be trusted. Really, this episode was a great episode. I absolutely love this episode. Best episode of the season by far. I love the way that everything wrapped up. I really like the way they handled Hudson's death. Thought that was definitely very good. But we do have a couple questions to think about. First of all, what is really going on with Frederick? We don't know. We know we can't trust him. We know he's working for his grandfather. So what's really going on here? Well, I don't really know what his actual plan is. We'll have to see what his plan is, I guess, in the next episode. We're going to find out, I'm sure. As far as Freya goes, do you guys think they're trying to get Freya and Killian back together? I feel like they're definitely trying to get the two of them back together. I mean, Freya and Dash back together. I feel like they're definitely trying to get them back together. It definitely feel like they were setting it up in this episode. As we know, Ingrid and Dash, not going to work. We know that by this episode. It's not going to work at all. So, there's no count on that working. That's just not going to work. Because it just won't. And then Killian and Ava, I don't really trust Ava right now. I really don't know what Ava's trying to do. I definitely think Ava has an agenda. We don't know what this agenda is, but I don't trust Ava right now. I really don't. I really like in this episode, though, that Joanna really got a hold of her relationship and realized that she needs to stop holding it back and actually needs to go forward with it. I really like that because it's really good character development for Joanna, and I really did like that about the episode. But also, what's going on with Ingrid next? Is she completely unpossessed? I think she is because the Mandragora is dead, but we'll have to see what ends up happening there. But that's it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, amazing episode. Loved every second of it. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. That's it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for my review of The Leftovers, which I have to go watch right now. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.